Hi, my name's Miranda. This is a practice for beginners, people who want to do yoga flow, but find it a bit confusing when someone says, now come into downward dog. What is downward dog? How do I do it? This will explain it. Lots of my yoga videos are actually fine for beginners because they're gentle, and the ones that describe themselves as flow move faster, but the other ones are all perfectly good for beginners. But this one will be introducing you to the movements that you do need if you're going to do a flow. So one thing that's important is just to remember that it's about how it feels. It's not about how it looks. So whenever you're in a pose, just think, how does it feel for me? Why am I doing this pose? It's not about how it would look in a photograph. The other thing is, you don't need a mat. The mat is a bit of padding underneath your knees. It can stop you slipping. So if you have a non-slip surface, that's great. You might need a mat though if your floor is a bit slidey. The other thing is that you might want to put something underneath your knees, especially if you're not used to being on your hands and knees. Something underneath your knees would be helpful. We're going to start off lying on our backs. So if you come onto your back with your eyes closed, just take a moment and have the palms of your hands pointing up, shoulders away from your ears, and just take a moment to settle. And it's a very important part of a yoga class to become aware of the breath. So rather than charging through the yoga positions unthinkingly, mindfully, we start off with the breath. So take a deep breath in. See if you can take your breath down into your belly so you're really using your diaphragm. As you exhale, exhale more fully. You should feel your belly coming back in. Inhale, draw the breath down into your belly. Feel your belly swelling. And exhale, fall. So just a few more long, deep breaths. And if this feels like an unnatural breath to you, it's worth trying to practice it. I have a video for anxiety and panic attacks that can really help you with this breath. But it is a much, much healthier breath if you can practice it. So inhale down into your belly. Exhale, the belly should come back in. Exhale more. And then we're going to start moving with the breath. So take a deep breath in. And exhale when you're ready to. Tip your pelvis back so your lower back presses down into the floor and squeeze your pelvic floor. It's a sensation of together, in and up. Inhale, tip your pelvis forward so a little arch happens in your lower back, releasing the pelvic floor. Exhaling when you're ready to. Pelvis tips back, lower back presses down into the floor and squeeze your pelvic floor. Inhale, pelvis tips forwards. And a few more times, just observing how this feels. So it's not a huge movement. It should feel good. It's a lovely way of reminding your body where neutral is for the pelvis. It's a lovely way of connecting the breath with the tummy muscles, with your back muscles, and with your pelvic floor. And then the next time you exhale, tip your pelvis back and then press each vertebra into the floor before you peel it up off the floor. So one vertebra at a time is coming up off the floor until you come up onto your shoulders and only come up to where you feel you're happy to be. Inhale. And when you're ready to exhale, roll back down again, one vertebra at a time, as much as possible to come back down. Resting breath in at the bottom. And exhaling when you're ready to again peel your spine up to come up onto your shoulders. Resting breath in at the top. And when you're ready to exhale, roll back down again. And a few more times. So really pressing each vertebra into the floor before it comes up. only up as high as your body feels happy. And when you come down this time, make that the last time. And then bring your knees in towards your chest. And hug your knees and rock from side to side. And this is something that's done a lot in yoga classes, a lovely moment of balance. Stretching out the back. And then hands on your knees. And circle your knees, 2 circles with the knees. So knees move away from each other, together, back in towards you, away from each other, and back towards each other. And again, just being aware that it's about how it feels. So just moving in a way that feels good for you. And take the circles in the other direction. So we're just warming up the hips. And doing this movement can really help prepare you for sitting cross-legged. And if you don't sit cross-legged very often, it's amazing how quickly we can stiffen up and find that we can't sit cross-legged anymore. When your legs come back together this time, catch hold behind your thighs and rock forwards and back. And rock up to sitting. And then if you take your legs out in front of you, so we're going to come into what is called Dandasana. So just seated pose, sitting down in a straight line. You might find that even this pose is quite a hard place to be. You want to make sure you're up on your sitting bones. So see if you can find the pointy bits, any fleshy bits, if you have them out. So you're really up on your sitting bones. If you find you're tipping back, then you want to have some of your legs bent. Or you might want to sit on something that just tips you slightly forwards. But you want to have the back of your body, the back of your pelvis in a nice straight line. Hands by your sides. Sit up tall. Press your thighs down into the floor. Keep your heels down too. If your heels come up off the floor, that means you are hypermobile in your knees. I am. So I have to work particularly hard to make sure I don't do that. So press your thighs down and keep your heels down too, just to protect the knees if that's the case for you. And then we're going to do something that is really effective in downward dog to really open the shoulders. So you want to do an outward wave with the hands. If you look at what my hands are doing, they want to do that. So an outward wave with the hands. They're on the floor. So they're beside you and they don't actually move. So as you do that outward wave with the hands, you should feel your shoulders opening and going down. We're going to do this in downward dog as well and in plank. So just really feel the shoulders firming. Make sure the neck is free. Press down with your thighs. Sit up tall. Visualize there's a thread in the top of your head drawing you up. Your breastbone is lifting. And just being aware your legs may be bent. And if they are bent, you will have to have your legs bent in downward dog too. And then relax. And we're going to come onto hands and knees. And this is where you may find you need padding underneath your knees. So maybe a blanket, whatever you feel. Also, if you feel any discomfort in your wrists, you could roll up your mat and just change the angle of your wrists. So you've just reduced that hard angle. If you have your hands on the floor but the wrists slightly higher, or you could buy a wedge to do the same. So just make sure your wrists are going to be comfortable. We're going to do cat-cow. So nice long back. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, round your spine. Look towards your tummy. Draw your tummy up towards your spine and squeeze your pelvic floor. Inhale, take your tail away and up. Drop your back. Breastbone forwards. Head coming up, shoulders away from your ears, but don't throw your head back. Keep a softness in your neck. Exhale when you're ready to round your spine. Look towards your tummy, draw your tummy up towards your spine and squeeze your pelvic floor. Inhaling when you're ready to, tail away and up, breastbone forwards as you're opening your body up. And again, don't throw the head back, keep a softness in the neck and keep going. And again, listening to your body, only going to where your body feels good. It's about freeing up your back. It's not about the movement for the sake of the movement. Really feel your body loosening up, freeing up. So on the inhale, the front of your body is stretching, the back of your body is working. On the exhale, the front of your body is engaging and the back of your body is stretching. And come to neutral. And this is where we're going to come into downward dog. So if you could look at your hands, spread your fingers, and do that outward wave with your hands again. So pressing down into the floor, outward wave with the hands, and when you do that, you should feel the crease of your elbow turns towards the front of the mat. It rotates your upper arms out, and it really broadens in the shoulders, which is why it's good to do. I did downward dog for 10 years before I was told how to do it correctly. And I found I was aggravating my shoulders. So do that outward wave with the hands, tuck your toes under, and on an exhale, lift your knees up off the floor and come up, bottom up into the air. And we're going to just do a stretch here first of all. So bend your right leg, take your left heel away and down towards the floor. And then bend your left leg, take your right heel away and down. And keep going. So we're just stretching the legs one at a time. The downward dog can be so many things. It can be a strong pose. It can be a lovely stretch. So just pedaling the legs. You'll feel your feet getting a lovely workout. The calves, the ankles. Just observing how that feels. It should feel good. And then come to neutral and come up onto your tiptoes. Again, the feet get a good workout. Exhale, heels away and down, the calves get a stretch. Inhale, up onto your tiptoes. Exhale, heels away and down. Inhale, come up. Exhale, come down. And then come back down to your knees. We're going to have a rest for a moment in child's pose. And child's pose is bottom down towards your heels, and your arms can either be in front of you or they can be by your sides. Whatever feels good for you. And you might find your bottom is not near your heels. You might find it's quite a long way away. It's a stretch for the ankles, it's a stretch for the legs, the back. If your bottom is not quite on your heels, what you can do is you can push the floor away with your hands. Really push the floor away because you'll feel your body coming closer, your bottom coming closer and towards your heels. Breathe deeply here. And then we're going to come up into downward dog again. But we're going to come into dog with a bit more strength. So spread your fingers again, outward wave of the hands, and again observe how that feels, that broadness in the shoulders. So you're really strengthening the shoulders in a lovely open way. Tuck your toes under. And then again, lift your knees up, coming into an upside down V. And then bend your legs. And think about your spine, nice long back. Really take your tail away and up. Reach your tail away and up the wall, halfway up the wall towards the ceiling. Really long back. Again, make sure your upper arms are rolled out, so that outward wave of the hands. Shake your head around. Make sure your neck is nice and long. Look at your knees. Make sure your knees are pointing directly forwards. And then straighten your legs just as much as your legs can straighten.
They might not go straight. It is about the stretch. Breathe deeply. So your heels are reaching away and down. Spread your toes. See if you can raise the arches in your feet. Don't worry if you can't. But if you can, it just engages the front of the shins, which helps to release the calves at the back. Long, deep breaths. And then we're going to come back down. And come into child's pose again. So bottom on your heels, just have a rest for a moment. And then we're going to come up again. So again, outward wave of the hands. Feel the shoulders broaden. And we're then going to come into a longer downward dog. So actually we're going to take the hands further forwards. We could take the knees further back. So take the hands about a hand length in front of you. Outward wave of the hands and bring your shoulders above your wrists, above the hands. Tuck your toes under. Inhale. And exhale, come into a longer downward dog. Now, if your floor is a bit slippery, this is where you might need something more grippy. But a longer dog can be a bit more slippy. If you find you're slipping, come into a shorter dog. Again, shake your head around, make sure your neck is nice and long. Check your upper arms are rolled out. So again, that outward wave with the hands. Check that your tail is reaching away and up. So your legs might not be straight. It's not about how it looks. So if you're rounding your back in order to get your legs straight, you're not going to be doing your back any favours at all. Really feel your tail reaching away and up. Breathe deeply. And this longer dog, this is the dog that if you're going to be doing sun salutes, so a vinyasa flow, this is where you're going to be more often than the shorter dog. But they're both valid. Then come to your knees and sink back, bottom onto your heels again. And maybe have your arms stand by your sides to give your arms a bit of a rest. And then come up onto your hands and knees again. Spread your fingers, outward wave of the hands, tuck your toes under, and come into downward dog again. So your knees lift, your tail is reaching away and up, and again make sure your legs are bent if they need to be, your back is long, tail reaching away. We're going to come into a lunge. So bend your legs and step your right foot forwards to your right hand, and make sure your knee is above your ankle. So if you need to, you might need to pick your foot up and bring it further forwards. Bring your left knee to the floor and the front of the foot flat. And come up and bring your hands onto your hip bones. We're just going to make sure that we come into the lunge with the correct angle here. So tip your pelvis back a little bit just to feel that stretch in the front of the left hip. And then lunge your body further forwards. You can either stay here with your hands on your hips, or you can bring your arms up, shoulders down, and again think about rotating your arms so the crease of the elbows want to turn towards your face and very slightly back. That lengthens your neck and takes your shoulders down. Your breastbone is lifting. Breathe deeply. Make sure your neck is free. Don't clench your jaw. Keep everything else as soft as possible. So really listen to this stretch that you're getting here in the front of your hip. Long, deep breaths. Taking a deep breath in here. And exhale, take your hands to the floor. Tuck your toes under in the left foot and lift your knee up off the floor. Reach away with your left heel. And then step your right foot back into downward dog. Again, spread your fingers. Make sure your upper arms are rolled out. So really making sure your shoulders are broad. Tail is reaching away and up. Nice long back. Then bend your legs again. Step the left foot forwards. And again, you might need to pick it up and bring it further forwards. Bring your knee to the floor, so the knee is above your ankle, left knee. And the front of your right foot is flat. and then come up again. And again, hands on your hips first of all, and tip your pelvis back a little bit. Again, to access that stretch in the front of the right hip. Then lunge your body forwards to where you feel it even more, but just not too much, making sure it's okay for you. Arms up, shoulders down, upper arms roll out. So again, the crease of the elbow turns towards your face and very slightly back. Breastbone lifting, neck relaxed, jaw relaxed, and breathe. Long, deep breaths. The more you breathe deeply, the more your body will let go into a stretch. And this muscle in the front of your hip gets very short and tight every time we sit, every time we get stressed. So really use the breath to encourage it to let go. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, hands to the floor. Inhale, tuck your toes under with the back foot, lift the knee, reach away with the heel, and into downward dog. And then we're going to come to our knees. And we're going to practice plank, which is similar in the shoulders as downward dog. So you want to be in a longer hands and knees position. So again, the hands about a hand's length in front of your shoulders, and then bring your shoulders above your wrists. Again, outward wave with the hands. So get that sense of the crease of the elbow pointing forwards. Shoulders are lovely and broad. Tuck your toes under. Make sure your neck is nice and free. Also, one more thing, if you have a tendency to tip your pelvis forwards when you stand, you might want to absolutely tuck your tail under a little bit here, because if you do the same thing in plank, you'll find your back muscles don't like it. So make sure your back is neutral. Draw your tummy up towards your spine. Inhale. Exhale, lift your knees off the floor and reach away with the heels. Nothing else changes. Just maybe you need to do an outward wave with the hands again, just to make sure the shoulders are lovely and broad. Breathe. You might find, actually this is too strong, I'm going to stay on the knees. And that's very valid too. You'll feel muscles working, your shoulder muscles, tummy muscles. Breathing deeply. So whether your knees on the floor, or whether your knees are lifted, take a deep breath in. And exhale into downward dog. And you'll feel here, you're in the long dog here. So just breathing deeply, observing. And then come to your knees. And lower down onto your belly. I'm going to do Cobra, which is very much a part of a vinyasa flow. So if you have your hands underneath your shoulders, shoulders away from your ears, elbows in. When you're ready to, inhale, curl up into a Cobra, a back bend. And don't push yourself up. You want to be using your back muscles. So don't come up too high. It's very tempting to come up high. Exhale, come back down again. So we're just going to come up and down a few more times. Inhale, curl up. Keep your neck soft. Exhale, roll back down. Inhale, roll up. This time we're going to stay here. And just to make sure that you're not pushing yourself up, take your hands off the floor. Then bring them back down again. Do an outward wave with your hands again. Feel out how that broadens your shoulders, really engages. Make sure your neck is soft. Take your breastbone forwards. Press down with the back to the front of the feet. And breathe. Make sure your back is completely happy here. Your back is working here in a lower Cobra. We're going to come up into a higher Cobra, which is a bigger back bend but less work. Just observing your back working here. And come down. Take a rest for a moment. And then we're going to come into a higher cobra. So just listening to your body again, just seeing how high your body feels happy. So don't come up just for the sake of it. If you feel any compression in your lower back, don't be there. So shoulders away from your ears, elbows in, neck relaxed. When you're ready to inhale, come up. That first bit of the cobra is your back working. So you might find you want to push the floor with your hands to come up a little higher. Keep it soft. Keep checking your back is happy. Keep the elbows in, don't let them go out. Breastbone forwards. You'll feel it's a stretch for the front of your body. And the front of the body can be very tight. Just breathe deeply, listening to this body, this back bend, feeling your body releasing into it. Keeping a softness. And don't lock your elbows either. If your elbows go locked, your shoulders go up towards your ears. So keep a slight softness in the elbows, even if you've come up high. And come down. And make a pillow with your hands. And turn your toes towards each other. And turn your face one side. And wiggle your bottom. Just to shake out of that work in the back. We're going to come over onto our backs. And bring your knees in towards your chest. And hug your knees, and again rock from side to side. We're going to finish up with a twist. So it's a lovely reclining twist, which is great for the body. Straighten your left leg and bring your right foot to rest on your left knee. So the arch of the foot is on the knee. And take your arms out the side. You can either have both arms bent, cactus arms, if you haven't got very much space. I haven't got very much space around me, so that's what I would be doing here. Otherwise, both arms out, palms up. And then take your right knee over to the left. You might feel you want to just shuffle your hips over to the right. Taking the right knee over to the left, the hip comes up off the floor, but your right shoulder stays down. It might feel nice to take your left hand and rest your left hand on your right thigh, just encouraging it. Close your eyes, maybe turn your head off to the right, so just wherever your neck is at its most happy. And breathe. Think about taking your inhale all the way down to your right hips as you breathe in, down to the hip, then let it move all the way up to your right armpit. And exhale fully. Inhale down to the hip, all the way up to your armpit. And exhale fully. And keep breathing deeply. One thing I didn't say at the beginning of the lesson was that in yoga we breathe through the nose, because breathing through the nose is a much more calming breath. We can't hyperventilate by breathing through the nose. So it really slows it down, it's calming the body down. So you can either breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, or breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. But really particularly focus on the exhale. The exhale is where we let go. So really exhale fully. And then we're going to come back to center. Bring your right foot onto the floor, bend both your legs, come back to center. You might think, actually, I just need to hug my knees for a moment. If you do, listen to your body. So then we're going to do the other side. So straighten your left leg. No, the other one. Straighten your right leg and bring your left foot to rest on your right knee. So the arch of the foot's on the knee. Again, arms by your sides, out by your sides, either arm straight, palms facing up, or cactus arms. And take your knee over to the right. And again, you might need to shuffle or want to shuffle your hips over to the left. Just coming to where your body feels happy. And again, you might feel it feels good to have a little bit of encouragement here with that right hand on the thigh, just encouraging the thigh, not forcing it, but encouraging it to come over. Again, keep your left shoulder down. And breathe. Again, really focus on that breath. So breathing in through the nose, deep breath in, all the way down to your left hip, all the way up to your armpit. And exhale fully. Inhaling all the way down to your hip, all the way up to your armpit. And long, complete exhale. You may feel that release of the exhale. You may feel that each time you exhale, just maybe you release and settle a little bit more into that twist. And it is normal for there to be a few clicks as your body releases into a twist. But just make sure that where you are, it doesn't feel uncomfortable. Don't ever be where it feels painful. There's a big difference between the pain or the discomfort of a stretch or muscles working and the pain that feels sharp and is wrong. So again, really breathing deeply. Listen to your body. Take your awareness around your body. Just observe yourself in this position. So again, remembering that yoga is about how it feels. It should feel good. Whatever you're doing, sometimes good might be a bit hard. It should still feel satisfying, even a deep stretch. And then come back to center. Foot on the floor. And bring the other foot onto the floor. Shuffle back to the middle. Bring your knees in towards your chest. And hug your knees. And rock from side to side. Then we're going to just settle onto the floor just for a moment with the legs straight. So we're not actually going to do a relaxation here. I have various videos that do have relaxations, but it is great just to take a moment with your arms away from your body, your palms facing up, and your shoulders away from your ears. Just to absorb what you have just done. Again, being aware of the breath. So drawing your breath again down into your belly. Feeling the belly rising on the inhale and falling on the exhale. Just observing your body, absorbing what you've done, the movements you've been through, how your body feels. Just allowing your body to settle. And it is a great thing just to remind our bodies what a straight line is. So just by lying on the floor, flat like this, it can really stop us from having our heads forwards, our shoulders forwards, the tip of the pelvis. And just really allow our body to settle in a straight line. And then bring your knees again in towards your chest. Hug your knees and rock from side to side. And then roll over onto one side. Use your hands to push yourself up to sitting, especially if you've been doing a long relaxation so you don't strain your back. And come to sitting cross-legged for a moment, making sure you're up on your sitting bones. And again, be aware of your sitting bones. When you are up on those bones, they're a little bit like a rocking chair, really, that you are sitting up straight. Om Shanti. That means peace. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. Please do subscribe to my videos if you enjoyed it. And as I said at the start, several of my videos are really perfect for beginners because they're gentle. We're not doing any fast movements. I explain all the poses throughout.